Hello, everybody. It's George from Ireland. Well, Andrew Tate and his brother, they've been charged with some very, very serious felonies in the United Kingdom. So it's just yesterday, they've been charged with 21 crimes, Andrew Tate and his younger brother, Tristan Tate. So they are currently in Romania. They ran their online business, their pornographic business from there. Then they were arrested, charged with various crimes in Romania. It being a Napoleonic law system is very, very slow. They were in jail. They were released to house arrest. Donald Trump lobbied on their behalf. They were allowed to fly back to the United States. For some time, to my surprise, they returned to Romania. I thought they simply stay in the USA, thinking that extraditing them back to Romania would take years and might never happen. And they could go to the ground in the USA. Now they are, I think, is to an American father, a British mother, born in the United States, later moved to Luton, United Kingdom, and then Andrew Tate was some champion kickboxer and so on. But he calls himself a misogynist, and he is bad news. And they've warned teenage boys not to view him as a role model. He's the sort of man gets straight men a bad name. Now, misogyny is a real thing, but unfortunately, the feminazis use it for just like straight males. There's a lot of stud shaming. If a man actively seeks sex with women, then he's a predator and like he's dangerous. If a woman does the same, she's liberated and she's whatever, an icon. She's a heroine, which is a preposterous double standard and grossly unjust. But Andrew Tate says some very distasteful things that women have to take responsibility for sexual assault. Now, sexual assault is unacceptable to say the least, and victims are not responsible for this, and so on. So, there's a pattern of behavior that Andrew Tate has established. He certainly made a lot of money, millions. Talk about toxic masculinity. Now, there's healthy masculinity, and some guys are particularly macho. I'm not. Some people are on the effeminate side. Nothing wrong with that. If a guy likes to take a lot of exercise, build up muscles, take part in so-called manly sports, I don't object. That can be honorable. That could be a healthy thing. All the rest of it. Some guy who's promiscuous, I don't mind. Libertinism is not a bad thing. I'm not judgmental in that regard. But what Andrew and Tristan Tate has done is certainly crossed the line. And I'm not prejudging the outcome of their trial sub judice. I don't want to prejudice that. So I presume they're innocent. Though obviously, you don't need me to underscore that they have the rights to a fair trial before an impartial tribunal in Romania or the United Kingdom or elsewhere. So, isn't it revealing that Trump should have gone into bat for them more so than Americans anywhere else in the world? He particularly had some fellow feeling for this pair. So, the accusations in Romania is that they tricked, coerced some young women into appearing in pornographic videos and so forth. They would contact girls below the age of consent to prepare for them for this. So far as I know, there's no accusation they actually produced indecent images of those who are 17 or 16, but were preparing them to do so as soon as they turned 18. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, and then they were very materialistic. And all right, there's something wrong with getting rich and being successful. Rather distasteful and vulgar to be so brash and so ostentatious about their bling. Doesn't it bespeak some profound sense of worthlessness that they're impelled to constantly broadcast their accomplishments, to showcase it in all these status symbols? Presumably, they suffer from a deep-seated sense of inadequacy, which is why they have this compulsion to show off all the time. This ostentation, it's rather unpalatable. Yeah, it just doesn't sit well with someone who's well adjusted and comfortable in his own skin. But yeah, they've been accused of rape, of actual bodily harm, of human trafficking, as in taking people across borders against their own will, and stuff like that. So, 21 charges there, charges in the Romania. It'd be very, very unlikely to be acquitted of everything. So he had over 10 million followers on X. Now, I've read some of his stuff out of morbid curiosity, and don't presume that makes me a supporter. It doesn't. I can only have an opinion on him because I'm informed about him. So he liked buying automobiles, he liked buying yachts and private jets and stuff like that. All right, more power to his elbow. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's not my lifestyle. And okay, he's far richer than I'll ever be, and I would like that more, that money. Whatever else, you can't deny that he's pecuniarily very successful. He's a very acquisitive person. But the question is, was all this money made by lawful means? We shall see. And the allegations in Romania relate to sex crimes against a minor, human trafficking, including of minors. So I mean, it's not looking terribly good. So yeah, so they were under house arrest for about a year and a half in Romania. But yeah, we shall see. Now, I must underscore that the two men, they deny all charges. So they're, yeah, the court case has to come to a close in Romania. Even if they're found not guilty in all charges, they will then be extradited to the United Kingdom and face more charges there, and so on. So they were had a travel ban for 2 years. They flew by private jet from Romania to Florida in February this year, and then they went back to Romania in March this year. And I suppose that does redound to their credit. If they really were guilty, they would have evaded justice. That's the argument. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it does help them a little bit. So goodness, they say they're cooperating with the authorities. So yeah, there are lots of witnesses against them. There's video testimony and so on. Yeah, it's not looking good for these two. So their empire may come crashing down. They're very brash in their style, want to be seen as uber macho and stuff like that, are ultra aggressive. Yeah, so Andrew Tate saying he wants to go for women who are like just over the age of consent or virgins and stuff like that. All right, each to their own. That's his preference. Yeah, he's bad news. I wouldn't be too influenced by him. If they never appeared in public, never published or said anything in public, that probably would be a good thing, actually. So goodness. All right, some have enjoyed their content. If it's lawfully made, nothing wrong with that. So people, the feminazis will say because they disapprove of it, they claim it's non-consensual, and anything that they dislike they call exploitation. But it's not exploiting addictions of males or men who are overcharged for these things. No, so that is neo-Puritanism, which is very, very distasteful. If it's permissible for women to appear in these videos, it must be permissible for men to do so. Men to be behind the camera as well, in front of the camera. Women behind the camera, I don't mind. Obviously, is female-friendly pornography and so on. But Andrew and Tristan Tate, they have had a baleful influence on young men around the world. So I prefer if they were less well known. But we shall see. It's quite possible that they will not be seeing sunlight for quite a few years, maybe even decades. So goodness, I think that, well, they may have transgressed the bounds of legality. I don't know. A court shall decide. But even if they're found, if they're not guilty of everything, even if they're allowed out on the street, I think they're fairly bad news. Some of the things they've said, misogyny is detestable. I'm a gynomaniac. I suppose I have to say a gynophile and so on. So the most wonderful people in the world are women, female voice, looking at ladies, glamorous, elegant ladies, even grandmothers or whatever, women's clothes, and not just the rather provocative ones. So women are so good and caring and nurturing and lovely and have contributed so much to so many spheres. Majority of doctors in the United Kingdom are women now. Women can make a marvelous leaders. I wouldn't care if in Ireland and Great Britain we're led by women exclusively from now on. So no one should be mistreated on the grounds of being a woman. And any man who would physically harm a woman is just vile, is the lowest of the low, an utterly despicable specimen. And I suspect that's what these two are like. Anyway, thank you very much for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate PayPal, georgecallahan79 at gmail.com. Goodbye.